Hey guy. I always do. You're 17 and someone said this place. The old hollow bridge was haunted by a man who died waiting. A man who never stopped waiting. If you walk across it at 300 a.m. sharp, they'd said, and you don't look back, he leaves you alone. But if you do look back, he follows you home. That kind of thing. Local legend. Probably invented by someone bored in the 80s. But you're standing on the near-edge phone light off because the moon's enough and your shoes are dangling from 2 fingers. You've walked this road before. Nothing new, nothing scary. Except he's standing right in the middle. A man. Just standing. Not facing you. Not walking. Not doing anything really. Just there. You freeze. Something about his posture is wrong. It's not slouched like someone waiting. It's stiff. Formal almost. Like a statue. Like a wax figure, somehow off ratio, too long in the arms. You check your phone, 2:59 a.m. Okay. Maybe someone else had the same dare. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe they're trying to be funny, but you don't call out, because your throat goes dry when the clock hits 3:02 a.m. and he moves. No walking, no swaying. Just he's closer now, like in those cheap editing tricks where they cut the film and the person jumps forward. You blink, he's closer again. You take a step back. The wooden planks creak under your heel, and that's when you realize your feet are wet. Not from fog. From the bridge. It's weeping. There's a slickness to the boards. A thin stream of water that wasn't there moments ago is now pooling toward the edge. You glance down and swear you see your own reflection in the wood grain, but it's blinking at the wrong speed. You don't want to look up again, but of course you do. And now he's right there, not inches away. But they were on your feet when you ran. Weeks pass. Life goes on. You chalk it up to a stress dream, a prank, a foggy night, and too many ghost stories. You stop telling people, because the more you say it out loud, the less you believe it. Until you're at a coffee shop 2 towns over, studying, earbuds in, focused, when a man in line leans over to the barista and says your name. Not your full name, your nickname, the one only your family uses, the one no one outside your house would know. And it's his voice, not loud, but wet somehow, like the syllables are soaked. You stand too fast. You spin. No one's there. No man. No coat. No damp footprints. But there is a smell. River mud. Wet wood. Old rope. And then the receipt you left behind when you fled. You find it in your car later, and it has your name on it, but not your handwriting. Historians still argue whether the earliest bridge hauntings were metaphors for crossing between worlds or literal accounts of liminal spirits. Either way, what you've crossed. You may not be able to uncross it. You sleep with the light on now. Sometimes you hear water dripping from the ceiling, but your roof's just been replaced. You try not to think about the receipt, or the voice, or the fact that your shoes ass. The same pair never seem to dry properly anymore, no matter how long you leave them out in the sun. But forgetting is tricky. When your own name keeps showing up where it doesn't belong, it starts small. A spam email from an account you don't recognize subject line. You left something behind. Inside. Just your name, typed twice. Then a coffee order at a place you've never been to before. The barista calls out your name, and when you say it must be a mistake, she frowns. Didn't you order the drip? She asks. You were just here. Nope. You've never been within 20 miles of this town until today. And you definitely didn't order anything. But there's your name scrawled on the cup. The handwriting, again, isn't yours. It's tight, cramped, uneven, like someone writing with shaking hands in the dark. And now you're not sleeping. Not well, anyway. Even when you do drift off, your dreams feel hollowed out, like someone else is dreaming you. You walk through your childhood home. Only the rooms are off by a few inches, and there are doors that never existed. Once you see your childhood dog, you try to pet him. His fur turns to river weeds. You wake up and check your phone. 3 missed calls, all from your number, the voicemail. It's a recording of you, whispering, saying your name. Historians still argue whether the origin of the doppelganger myth stems from pre-modern fears of identity theft, or deeper, more supernatural beliefs in mirrored souls. But whether it's Germanic folklore or Sumerian ghost twins, the meaning is the same. If you see yourself, you're not long for this world. You go to a therapist. She's gentle, logical, warm. Her office smells like cinnamon tea and antique upholstery. There's a tiny clock that ticks too fast, but you try to ignore it. You tell her you're stressed, that you've been hearing things, seeing things, that people keep saying your name like they know it. She asks if you've had any trauma lately. Any losses. You think about telling her. About the bridge. About him. But something stops you. She smiles kindly and says, you know, sometimes the brain creates stories when it needs to understand fear. You nod. Then you see the drawing behind her desk. A child's sketch, crude, done in crayon. The figure is tall, all scribbled black, no face. Arms too long. Underneath it, your name, just your name. You lean forward. She follows your gaze. "Oh, that," she says lightly. "A previous client drew it. Years ago. I just keep it around." She doesn't ask why you excuse yourself mid-session. At home, you begin to notice patterns. Your keys vanish only to reappear on top of your pillow. The shower turns on by itself at 300 m. Your name is scratched faintly into the steam on the bathroom mirror. Once. Twice. Then a full sentence. "Let me in." Not screamed. Not even capitalized. Just a polite little request. You tell yourself it's a prank. Or maybe sleepwalking. Or maybe your own mind looping back on itself like a snake eating its own tail. But one night you hear your doorbell ring. You don't move. You just listen. One ring, then a second. Then tap, 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 knuckles against the door. Steady. Measured. Too calm. You approach and peek through the peephole. No one, but there's water on the other side of the door, beating gently on the wood, like someone just stepped away. The doormat is soaked with what looks like footprints. Bare, toes curled, standing still. One night you try something different. You go out, to a diner open late. You're seated in a booth with red vinyl seats and a flickering jukebox. The waitress gives you a menu. Her eyes are kind, but distant, like she's seeing someone else. You order coffee. Nothing special. Just something to feel grounded. When the cup comes, it's already full. You didn't see her pour it. You look at the surface. There's a shimmer in it, like a reflection. But the reflection is time someone says your name now, you feel it like a tug. A tiny hook behind your ribs. And it's getting harder to pretend you're not being reeled in. You haven't been under the house in years. Crawl spaces are for pipes dust. Old toys. Possibly raccoons. Not people. Not you. But that's where the sound is coming from. It started as a light tapping, like someone drumming a finger against the wood just beneath your bed. You assumed it was the heater or the boards settling. Houses are old. They make noises. That's the deal. Then came the scratching, not frantic, not the scurrying of an animal. This was slow, deliberate. The kind of sound that says, "I know where you are and I'm in no rush." You tell yourself it's just rodents. You buy traps. Poison. Ultrasonic devices that plug into the wall and are supposed to emit terrifying high-pitched squeals. You hear nothing, but the scratching gets louder. Then one night you hear breathing. It's late. You're in bed. The lights are off. And you swear just faintly you hear someone under your floorboards, breathing right below your head. Inhale, hold, exhale. You freeze. You don't even shift the blanket. Because it's not just the breath, it's the rhythm. It matches yours. And then it gets half a second ahead. You don't sleep that night. The next morning you wedge yourself into the crawl space, flashlight in hand. Heart rattling somewhere around your tonsils. You duck under insulation, an ancient cobweb swatting dust motes the size of snowflakes. The dirt is dry but smells wrong. Like river mud left out too long in the sun. You crawl, and you find it. Not him, not the man from the bridge, but something else. A piece of paper. Folded twice. Wedged beneath one of the joists held down by a small, smooth stone. You unfold it. It's a child's drawing. Crayon again. Red and black. And your name at the bottom. But not your current name, your middle name. The one your grandma used when she was mad. The one no one alive should know. You check the back of the paper. There's a smudge. You think it might be... Is that a thumbprint? Too small to be yours. Too recent to be old. You crawl back out, heart pounding in a new rhythm. Leave. 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 But you stay. You always stay. Because what's under the house knows that you know it's there now. And that changes things. For days, nothing happens. The scratching stops. The breathing fades. The floor even seems warmer. You relax just a little. Then one night, while brushing your teeth, you hear it. Your voice, calling to you from the air vent. It's faint. Echoey. Like a cassette tape left in the sun. But it's you saying, "Come down here. I need to show you something." You freeze with the toothbrush still in your mouth. You lean toward the vent. It says, "Don't be scared. It's just us." You back away. It says we remember everything. You sleep on the couch that night. In ancient Rome, some houses had lararia. Little shrines built into the walls to honor the household spirits. They believed every home had protective entities, guardians of fire and memory. But if you forgot them, if you didn't offer gifts, if you let the house forget its own name, sometimes the guardians stopped protecting. Sometimes they just watched. You don't have a shrine in your house, just a loose grate on the vent and a mirror in the hallway that keeps showing things that aren't quite behind you. You wedge the vent shut. You move your bed. You even consider selling the house. Until the morning you find the footprints on the underside of your floorboards. Tiny bare feet pressed into the wood like the impression was made from above. You call a friend someone practical. Someone who'll mock you for being dramatic. He comes over. He checks the crawl space. Finds nothing. Says the drawings are probably from whoever lived there before. Kids are weird, he shrugs. You nod. Smile, let him go. That night your phone rings. It's your friend. But when you answer, it's your own voice that speaks. It says we don't like him. The call cuts off. You don't sleep. Days later, you wake up with something stuck to your back. You reach behind you. It's a page. Taped to your shirt. Another drawing. Another name. Your name, but written in a child's hand with your old address. Lowit. The one you lived at until you were 5. The one you haven't spoken aloud in years. You don't know what to do with that. You sit on the edge of the bed, and you notice the vent is open again. Not wide, just cracked, like someone had been listening, or like something else had been waiting for the right moment to breathe again. Historians still debate whether the concept of house spirits was merely a comforting metaphor for domestic peace, or a warning that places, especially old places, remember us in ways we don't always want to be remembered. You think about that a lot now, especially when the breathing starts again at 3:00 a.m. This time, it doesn't match your rhythm. It's laughing. You keep a broom near the crawl space now. It's not a weapon exactly. It's just something long. Something you can jab through the opening. If something tries to come up again, it's ridiculous. You know that. You feel silly every time you glance at it. But you also haven't touched the vent since the breathing started laughing. The laughter doesn't come every night. That's what makes it worse. Sometimes it's quiet for days, and you almost convince yourself it was all a dream, a stress hallucination. You eat better. You get outside. You see friends. You go an entire week without hearing your name in a stranger's voice. And then you wake up choking on dirt, real dirt, packed under your fingernails and your teeth down your throat. You bolt upright, gasping, and cough onto the bedsheet. A small pile of fine, dark soil spills from your mouth. It smells like old wood and riverbanks and something coppery, just faintly like a penny sucked too long between your teeth. Your sheets are streaked with brown. You check your arms. There are scratches, small ones, shallow, like your fingernails dug into your own skin trying to get out. But the worst part, your hands are filthy. Palms caked in dirt, like you've been digging. You run to the mirror. There's more dirt on your face, under your eyes, in your hair. Like you've been sleeping underground. Like you've woken up wrong. You wash everything 3 times. You scrub under your nails until they sting. You bleach your sheets. You vacuum the floors, even though they don't need it. But the scent lingers. That damp, iron-tinged, earthy smell that doesn't belong in a house with a working HVAC system. Later that day, you check your phone's health tracker. It says you took 42 steps between 1:00 and 4:00, but your smartwatch was on the nightstand the whole time. Historians still argue whether certain burial customs like the placement of coins over the eyes or tying the feet were meant to honor the dead, or simply to stop them from walking. Many believe it was both. You find yourself thinking about that a lot, especially when you wake up with a penny clutched in your left hand. One from the 1940s. From a country you've never been to. You go to a sleep clinic. You tell them you've been walking in your sleep. Digging in your sleep, maybe. They nod, ask questions. They set you up in a clean little room with a bland comforter and a stack of wires taped to your scalp. You don't expect anything to happen, but you don't sleep that night because the camera feed which you watch the next morning shows something else. Not just you standing up at 2:58 a.m. Not just you walking to the corner of the room and turning to face the wall. No, it shows you smiling. And then it shows another hand reaching up from under the bed. A small one, delicate, pale, with dirt under the nails. You don't remember that part. Of course you don't. But the footage does. They say it's probably a malfunction. A flicker. A compression glitch. You don't argue. You just ask for the tape. You show it to no one, but you watch it. Over and over. You study the hand. You pause it frame by frame. It's not quite human. Too narrow, too many knuckles. It vanishes by the next frame. You check under your bed for the 3rd time that day. Nothing. But there's a crumpled note in your pillowcase. You smooth it open. This one isn't a child's drawing. It's a map, crude. Sketched in charcoal, maybe. It shows your street, your house, and then a dotted line running from your bedroom window all the way to the old bridge. The one you shouldn't have crossed. You call in sick. You close all the blinds. You put salt along the thresholds because a friend once told you it might help. And at this point, superstition feels safer than facts. You sit on the couch and you wait because you know something's coming now. At 3 a.m. the doorknob rattles. Not hard. Not frantic. Just a single twitch, like someone's testing it. And then a voice, not yours this time, says from the hallway, "You left too soon." You hold your breath. The silence stretches. Your ears ring. Your muscles lock. And then, with perfect politeness, "May I come in now?" When the sun rises, you open the door. There's nothing there, just a small pile of river mud perfectly centered on the welcome mat, and one long, narrow handprint pressed into it. Some anthropologists suggest early burial rites weren't for the dead, but for the living. Smiles. Just the barest twitch at the corner of the mouth. You don't. You back away slowly and cover the mirror with a blanket. You've been trying not to look at any since. The next encounter comes at the train station. You're traveling for work. Something mundane. Thankfully, and your train's delayed by 30 minutes. The platform is mostly empty except for a few tired commuters and one elderly man who keeps humming something under his breath. It's familiar, but you can't place it. You walk a few paces down to be alone, scroll through your phone and wait. Then you hear it. Your name, not yelled, not whispered, just spoken aloud calmly from behind you. You turn. No one's close enough. The humming man is gone. You scan the platform again. Still empty. A new train rolls in on a different track. You didn't hear an announcement. It's not on the board, but the doors open anyway. And you feel pulled, like gravity wants you there. You step closer against your better judgment. Inside the train, the lights flicker dim gold. The seats are all empty, except one passenger. At the far end, sitting still. Too still. You don't see a face, just the shape. A long coat, a droop to the shoulders like soaked fabric. You take a step back. Then you hear it again. Your name, spoken exactly the way he said it. Back on the bridge. Same tone. Same rhythm, like he's still waiting. But he isn't. You already know he isn't. The doors close. The train leaves. But you stand there for a long time after heart-thudding skin, clammy the air tasting like iron and mold. You take a deep breath, turn back to your platform, and see something scrawled into the condensation on the glass partition beside the bench. It's a date, tomorrow's date, and the words bring the coin. You don't know how it got there, but you do know which coin it means. The old one, from the 1940s. The one you still keep on your nightstand, even though you swear you threw it out twice. Historians still argue whether old ghost train sightings were born out of real accidents or simply the collective trauma of industrialization. But every culture seems to have something, a vessel you're not meant to board. A cart, a boat, a train. One that travels in one direction only. You go home that night and tape every mirror in your house. You sleep with the coin clutched in your hand, and you dream. But it's not like the others. This time you're not underground. You're on the train. The lights buzz overhead, flickering between pale amber and a deep pulsing red. The windows show nothing, just streaks of dark like old blood on glass. You're not alone. There are others sitting in the car now, all in coats, all soaked through, all facing forward, except one. The man nearest to you has no face, but he knows you. He leans closer, and you hear him say, "We're waiting for you to remember." You wake up with a start. Your alarm clock reads 3 a.m. The coin, it's no longer in your hand, but it's warm in your pocket. Later that day, you try to distract yourself. You take a walk. You visit a bookstore. You flip through something on local legends just to feel grounded. You read one entry that sticks with you, about a small bridge near the town's edge, supposedly built over a burial site long ago. The legend says a man was hanged for a crime he didn't commit and buried under the foundations, and that he never really stopped waiting for someone to come back and take his place. You know it's your bridge, even if the dates don't match, even if the name is different, because next to the entry is a blurry photo of a man in a long coat, standing just out of frame. He looks too tall, his head tilted in the same unnatural angle you remember. You show the photo to the cashier. She frowns. "Oh, that's been torn out of the book for years," she says. You look again. It's gone. On the ride home, you sit near the back of the bus. Rain taps on the windows, rhythmic and calming. You feel a little safer, a little removed, until the bus rolls through a tunnel and all the lights flicker. You glance at your reflection in the window, and the face looking back at you. It's not making the same expression. You blink. It doesn't. You smile just to test. It grins. Much wider. The lights flicker again, and the face returns to normal. You lean your head against the window. Close your eyes. But in the reflection, your eyes stay open. Watching. Always watching. It starts as a game. You're at a party, well, more of a gathering. One of those 2 quiet evenings with old friends and new acquaintances. Half-empty chip bowls, a Bluetooth speaker stuck on nostalgic indie playlists. Someone says, "We should play something spooky." You laugh it off at first. You're not in the mood. But the others are already dimming the lights and lighting candles they scavenged from drawers. Someone even has a deck of tarot cards. Another friend brings out a worn journal labeled "Midnight Games and Folklore." You roll your eyes. What, like Bloody Mary? No, your friend says, flipping pages. This one's different. She reads it out loud. The birthday candle game. At midnight, light a single birthday candle. Place it on a mirror. Close your eyes. Make a wish you don't say aloud. Then another, measured, barefoot. Steady. You hold still. You clench your teeth. Because the rule was clear, do not turn around. But the footsteps keep coming. Slow. Closer. Until they stop. Right behind you. Breath tickles your neck. Damp and warm. Then something leans near your ear and whispers, "That's not your real name." Your chest tightens. You snap the light on. No one's there. The mirror shows only you. But you're smiling. You're not smiling. Not really. But your reflection is. Again. You grab the candle. You leave the bathroom. You don't tell your friends what happened, but they notice you're quiet the rest of the night. The next morning, you wake to find candle wax on your pillow and the mirror in your hallway. The words "make another wish" are scrawled in it in waxy lines. You wipe it off, but the outline remains faint and greasy, like someone pressed their fingertip through the glass instead of on it. You try to look it up. Birthday candle game brings up nothing helpful. No urban legends. No sleepover blogs. Nothing in the usual paranormal forums. It's like the game doesn't exist outside of that one book. So you text your friend. She replies, "What book?" You send a photo of the journal. She responds with a photo of the shelf where it should have been. Empty. She doesn't remember owning it. And no one else at the party remembers the game. For 3 nights, the same dream loops. You're sitting in front of the bathroom mirror. The candle's lit, but you can't blow it out. No matter how hard you try, the flame grows taller. It stretches like a reaching hand. The wax melts too fast, dripping upward against gravity. And your reflection, it starts whispering something you can't hear. Then one night you finally catch the words. It's saying, "You wished for this." You didn't, though. Right. You try to remember the wish you made, but your memory blanks out. There's just a sense of something missing, something hollowed out, and then people start forgetting you. First, the barista who gets your order wrong, even though you've been going there for years. Then your neighbor who asks if you're new to the building. Then your coworker who sends you a welcome email. Like it's your first week, you start to vanish in the corners of conversations. Photos on your phone are glitching your face blurry, distorted, shadowed out. And when you finally check your own driver's license, the name printed on it isn't yours. It's close. 1 letter off. But not your name. You go back to the bathroom. You light a candle. 1 more time. You whisper, "I want my name back." You close your eyes. Blow. The flame doesn't go out. It surges. The mirror fogs over instantly, and in the condensation letters, etch themselves one at a time. 2. Late you wish to be forgotten. Historians still debate the origins of birthday candles. and their ties to warding off evil spirits. Some say the smoke carried your wish to the gods. Others that it disguised your soul from being stolen mid-wish. But if the game was real, maybe it worked too well, because you're still here. But nobody seems to know you anymore. Your mail stops arriving. Your bank account vanishes. Your phone contacts reset to 0. And your own voice, it's harder to hear in recordings, like it's fading. Then one night, you pass a store window and catch your reflection again. And this time, it turns its head first. You don't follow. You don't dare. You just keep walking alone, wondering what wish you actually made. And if the candle's still burning somewhere, waiting. You find the photograph in a junk shop on a side street you've never noticed before. It's wedged between vintage postcards and tarnished teaspoons, barely visible beneath a cracked leather photo album. The glass frame is chipped. The black and white image inside is curled at the edges. Faded. But the moment you see it, something in your chest tightens. There's a group of people in it. 7, maybe 8, standing in a loose half circle in front of an old house. Their expressions are unreadable. All except one. The man at the edge, taller than the rest, wearing a coat that's just too long. His face is slightly blurred, but the eyes, they seem aimed directly at you. You laugh nervously and show it to the shopkeeper. He doesn't look up from his crossword. Found that in an estate sale, he says. Some creepy little town up north. What's the town called, you ask? He shrugs. Didn't say. You want the photo or not? You buy it. You don't know why. You bring it home and put it in a drawer. You forget about it for 2 days. Then, while brushing your teeth, you hear something fall in the living room. You come out dripping toothpaste to find the photo lying face up on the floor. The drawer's still shut. You didn't take it out. You didn't even open that drawer. But the photo, it's changed. The man on the edge is closer to the center now. Not much, just one place over. You stare at it for a long time. Your brain keeps trying to come up with rational explanations. Maybe the image was always like that, and you didn't look carefully the first time. Maybe it's a trick of the light, or warping in the glass. Or maybe you're just remembering it wrong. But deep down you know that's not true. The photo is changing, and you have no idea what happens when he reaches the middle. The next night, you set the picture on a shelf and leave your phone filming it. You fast forward the footage the next day. Nothing. Until exactly 3 yurim. Then just for a split second the image blurs. The camera glitches. And when the feed clears, the man is 2 spots closer. Historians still argue whether spirit photography was ever more than camera errors and suggestive framing. Victorians loved capturing ghosts on film, often double exposures or deliberate fakes. But even then, some photographers claimed the images changed after printing. That spirits weren't in the photo, they were watching through it. You think about that now, especially when you wake up at night, and the frame is no longer on the shelf. It's beside your bed, propped upright, facing you. You try to get rid of it. You toss it in the trash frame and all. The next morning, it's back on your kitchen table. You burn it in the sink. Hold the lighter under the corner and wait for the flames. The photo curls, blackens, turns to ash. You breathe. It's done. You go to the bathroom, wash your hands. Come back to the kitchen, and there it is, back on the table, unburned. But the man, he's standing dead center now. You don't leave your apartment for a while. You tape the photo inside a box. You place it under heavy books. You avoid looking at it, but at night, your dreams betray you. You dream you're one of the people in the picture, stiff, expressionless. You feel the weight of a camera pointed at you. You hear a voice behind it say, "Hold still. He's not ready yet." You look down. You're holding a coin in your palm. The one from your pocket. The one from the bridge. One morning you wake to find another change. There's a new person in the photo, just barely visible at the edge of the frame. Half cropped. You don't recognize the face. Not yet. But the hair, the shirt, those are yours. You flip the frame over. On the back, scratched into the wood, almost there. You finally take it to a historian, an art archivist, someone who knows about photos' restoration anomalies. He examines it in a well-lit lab, uses gloves, magnifying glass. His brow furrows. "Where did you get this?" he asks. You tell him. He doesn't speak for a minute. Then, there's no emulsion on this, no chemical base. This image wasn't developed. You stare at him. What does that mean? It means he says slowly this photograph was never taken. You thank him. Take the photo, don't explain. You bring it home and put it in the freezer. It fogs up immediately. When you check it an hour later, it's not there. But your reflection in the freezer door, he's in it, just standing behind you, smiling. You hear the sound again the next night. It's not footsteps this time, not whispering, not even breathing. It's clicking, delicate, methodical, like someone tapping long fingernails against metal, one at a time. Click, click, click. You're lying in bed covers pulled up, eyes wide in the dark. The sound echoes faintly through the room, bouncing off the walls, slipping through the gaps around your door. You follow it to the source, the vents, not the crawl space this time, not the hallway grate. It's coming from the ductwork, from somewhere behind the walls. Something is in there. You stand still for 5 full minutes just listening. Click, click, pause, click, like it's counting, like it knows you're there. Then it stops, and you think maybe it's gone, until your bedroom vent cover rattles slightly. Just once, you stare at it. Something stares back. 2 faintly glowing eyes, wide apart. Too low to belong to a person. Too still to be an animal. You slam the vent shut. You pile furniture in front of it. But the clicking doesn't stop. It just moves. Now it's in the kitchen duct, then the bathroom, then the guest room. Always just far enough that you can't catch it, but close enough that you can hear. You call in an HVAC professional. He only arrives in the afternoon, cheerful clipboard in hand, smelling like peppermint and fiberglass. You don't tell him everything, just that you've been hearing odd noises in the vents. He nods. Probably rats or the wind. He climbs up, removes the duct cover, shines his light, frowns. "Huh," he says. "What do you ask?" "There's something wedged in here." He reaches in, pulls out a small bundle of hair, tied at the end with a red string. He looks pale. That's not normal." You nod slowly. "I don't think the wind did that." He finishes quickly, leaves faster. You think he won't bill you. You keep the bundle in a plastic bag and stuff it in the freezer beside the photograph. You sleep with the hallway light on. But at 3:14 a.m., you wake up because the clicking has returned. Only now it's not just a sound. It's a voice, soft, rhythmic clicking into words like old Morse code. You lie still. You listen. It says, "We're inside already." The next morning, the guest room door is cracked open. You haven't opened it in weeks. No one uses it. Inside, the air is heavy, wet. You flick on the light and see The vent cover has been unscrewed. Neatly. Delicately. The screws are stacked beside it. Inside the duct, a folded piece of paper waits. You reach in, unfold it. There's a drawing again. This one newer. Done in pencil. A floor plan of your house and an X marked right over your bed. Historians still argue whether ancient Egyptian burial tombs were rigged with mechanical traps or just psychological ones. Dead ends. Fake rooms, echoes, designed to disorient. But what if some spaces aren't meant to be protected? What if they're designed to trap something inside? You're starting to feel like your house isn't yours anymore, like it's been hollowed out, made into something else, something that echoes. That night you open the freezer, the photo is gone, the bundle of hair still there, but it's changed. Instead of a red string, it's now tied with something that looks like a shoelace. You recognize it. It's from the shoes you wore the night on the bridge. You haven't seen them since you threw them out. The duct clicks behind you. You don't turn around, but you feel the air shift, like something just crawled quietly back into place. You sleep with headphones in, white noise blasting. No dreams, but your phone logs voice memos anyway. You wake to find 6 new recordings. You don't remember hitting record. You play the first, static. Then silence. Then faintly, you're getting closer. The second says, you left the door open. The third quieter still, don't let them in. And the last, just soft wet clicking. The kind that feels like a tongue on metal. Like something smiling with too many teeth. You take a drive to clear your head. Just get out of the house. Leave behind the vents. The voice is the impossible photograph. You point your car. West, no destination, no music, just the road humming beneath the wheels, and the sun too low in the sky for comfort. Eventually, you pull off at a gas station. One of those last century kind that's probably closed more often than it's open. There's a single pump and empty diner beside it, and a clerk behind the window who looks like he's been there since time forgot. You pay for gas. The clerk stares at you a beat too long, then says, "Welcome back." You hesitate. Back. He nods. You've been through here before. Few years ago, maybe. You shake your head. I've never been here, but he insists. No, I remember. You asked about that old bridge just outside of town. Your chest tightens. You didn't tell him anything. You haven't mentioned the bridge to anyone here. How did you know about the bridge, you ask? He blinks. You told me. You leave before the tank finishes filling. Back on the road, you keep the windows down. You want the air. You want anything real. But soon you're passing fields that look familiar. Too familiar. You take a left. Then a right. Then a road you know you've never driven before. Still, every fence post, every mailbox, every sagging barn feels like something from a dream. Until you see the cafe, small white with faded red trim, and a porch swing that rocks in the wind, even though the air is dead still. You pull over. You walk inside. The bell above the door chimes once, then again, 3 times. Like it's stuck. The waitress behind the counter greets you, says your name perfectly, but you didn't give it. You haven't spoken it since the game. You swallow. Have we met? She smiles. Everyone comes back eventually. You sit. She brings coffee without asking. You don't drink it. Instead, your eyes fall to a small ledger by the register. A guest book, maybe. She notices your gaze and turns it toward you. Want to sign? Aye, sure. You flip to the previous pages first, skimming names, flipping back, until there it is, your name. Not just once. 3 entries, 3 different dates, 3 different pens, same handwriting. Your handwriting. You push back from the counter. You leave without touching the coffee. Outside, the swing is still moving. Inside the car, your phone won't turn on. The gas gauge reads empty, but the engine is still running. You drive. Nowhere in particular. You drive until the sun is gone, and the sky is filled with clouds that don't move. Historians still argue whether certain lost towns, those that appear briefly in records and then vanish, were abandoned settlements, cartographic errors, or something stranger. There are stories of travelers walking into towns that no longer exist, only to return with pockets full of receipts from places that were never built. You think you've been to one now, and it knows your name better than you do. You get home just after midnight. You don't remember the last 10 miles. Your car door closes behind you without your help. Inside, everything looks the same, but it feels worn out. The hallway is quieter than usual. The air feels thinner. And on the kitchen table, the ledger, the same one from the cafe. But it's open to a fresh page now. 1 entry. Just 1. It reads your reservation has been confirmed. Below it, a time to 14 a.m. You wait. You sit in the living room. The vent doesn't click. The floor doesn't creak. But you can feel something behind the walls. A current. A pulse. Then the clock hits 3:14. And your doorbell rings. Once, twice, then a 3rd time. You don't move. You don't breathe. But a voice slips under the door like smoke. It says, "You were here before. You will be again." You squeeze your eyes shut, but you can still see it. A cafe ledger. Your name. More entries than you ever remember writing. All in your hand. All from places you haven't been yet. You don't remember when you first forgot. That's the strange thing, how forgetting creeps in so quietly. You don't notice the holes until you're falling through them. First, it's little things. Your email password, the PIN to your debit card, your gym locker code. Then it's birthdays, faces, street names. You stand in your kitchen one morning and realize you don't know how you take your coffee. Do you use milk sugar? Do you even drink coffee? The kettle's already boiling. The mug's already on the counter. Someone does, but you're not sure it's you anymore. You go to your childhood photo albums. You think maybe grounding yourself will help. The ones your parents gave you when you moved out, birthdays, Halloween costumes, that school trip to the dinosaur museum. You flip through page after page. There are gaps, smiling family missing one person. Your person. In several photos, there's just blank space. Like someone's cut you out, or like you were never there. You find a picture with a birthday cake, 7 candles, a red plastic fire truck. You recognize your old house, your parents. But the child, blurry, distorted, wearing your shirt, holding your toy, but with no face. You visit your parents. You ask your mom if she remembers that birthday. She pauses, blinks. Did we have a party that year? I don't think we did. You press. The fire truck, the cake. She frowns. I don't think you liked birthdays. You did. You remember loving them. Or at least you think you do. But your dad just shrugs. You always kept to yourself. You didn't. You had friends. You had friends, right? You go back home. You open your contacts list. There's no one in it. Not just deleted, replaced with gibberish. Names like and null. You try calling one anyway. A voice answers. Not yours. Not anyone's. Just says, we remember for you now. Click. Dial tone. Historians still argue whether memory theft in folklore, like changelings or soul jars, was rooted in fears of dementia or a deeper superstition that identity isn't something we own, but something we rent. And when the rent comes due, someone else takes the lease. You think someone is moving in now, taking over the small, quiet spaces first. The ones no one notices are gone. You write down what you do remember in a notebook, in careful, angry block letters. But the next morning, the pages are blank, or worse, full of someone else's handwriting. Pages scrawled with lines like, "This version is quieter. You wanted less pain. Remember, let us carry the hard parts." Forget. You start forgetting words. You'll reach for microwave and come back with lightbox. You'll look at your keys and call them clappers. You mix up directions, mix up your name. Once someone asks you what you do for work, you say, You don't finish the sentence because your mouth doesn't remember how. One night you find a manila folder on your porch. Inside documents, a full identity kit, new name, new address, new birth date, a passport photo of youth but older, sharper, smiling in a way you never have. The application is signed by you. You don't remember doing it, but the signature matches. You look closely. It's not ink. It's etched, burned faintly into the page like a hot pin tracing your name through paper. Your real name, the one you're beginning to forget. You try recording yourself. You speak into your phone. "My name is Redacted. I live at Redacted. I was born in..." And suddenly the words won't come out. The audio corrupts. White noise fills the playback. Then a voice that isn't yours says, "You don't need that anymore." You leave sticky notes around the house. Your name, your birthday, your parents' names. But each night they shift, get crossed out, rewritten, replaced with a different name, a different birthday. One note says, "It's easier this way. Trust us." Another reads, "No pain if you can't remember." You take them all down, burn them. But the smell lingers, not smoke. Wet paper, mold, dusty sunlight through glass. You've smelled it before. You just can't place where or when. You go to your mirror, take a marker, write your name across the glass in big black strokes. You stare at it, force yourself to repeat it over and over. Then blink, and it's gone, wiped clean. And your reflection, still mouthing something, but not your name. A different one. One that sounds like dripping water and sighs behind walls. Your phone rings. The screen is blank. You answer anyway. The voice says, "Do you still want to know who I am?" You whisper yes. The voice says, "You met me the day you forgot something small. I was born in your first lapse. I've been growing in the spaces you leave behind." You ask, "What are you?" It laughs. And then, "I'm the one who remembers what you buried." You review your home security footage one night, more out of desperation than curiosity. You've begun to suspect that if anything is really happening, it's not just in your head. And if it is, you need proof. The footage is clean at first. You skim past hours of silence. You've left the camera running in your hallway, aimed down the narrow strip between your bedroom and the front door. Then the timestamp hits 2:10, and you see her, a woman, barefoot, hair hanging damp around her shoulders. A white dress, maybe linen, maybe just a long shirt. Hard to tell with the grainy resolution. She's standing still at first, halfway down the hall. Then slowly, she begins to spin. Not dancing, turning in place, over and over. Arms at her sides, eyes closed. One slow spin every few seconds. No expression, no purpose, just spinning. You freeze the frame, zoom in. There's water dripping from her fingertips, pooled under her heels, and she's leaving no footprints. You don't remember this. You didn't wake up. You heard no sound, yet there she is, exactly at 2:14. Tina, the next night you stay up. You sit in the dark, silent still. No music, no phone, no lights. The minute arrives. 2:14 a.m. And nothing. The hallway is empty. You stare into it, heart pounding. Then you glance at the camera's display screen. She's there, the woman, spinning slowly behind you. You spin around. Still nothing. But the feed keeps playing, and she keeps turning. Historians still debate whether traditional spirit dancers were meant to summon spirits, or to mimic their movements to confuse them. Silence, then a soft creak behind you. You turn, and there she is, but not in the hallway. In the mirror, spinning. Except now, she's smiling, and she looks just like you. You rush to cover the mirror, tear down the cloth you used weeks ago, rewrap it, tape it, stack boxes in front. But the next night you wake up facing a mirror you don't own. It's in your bedroom, leaning against the wall, and she's in it, dancing, faster now. You look down at your own feet. They're wet. You find her footprints the next morning, not in the hallway, in your kitchen. One set, damp, bare, delicate, arched. They lead to the fridge. On the door is a sticky note. In your handwriting, it says, "She dances when you forget." Below that, scribbled in someone else's hand. And when she stops, someone else takes your place. You rewind the footage again. Watch her spin every night. Only now you realize she's getting slower. Each night the turns take longer. Her head dips lower. Her arms start to rise, as if she's about to reach through. And in last night's recording, she mouths a word. Just one. Your name. You try leaving the house. Book a hotel. High floor. Clean sheets. No mirrors. You sleep for the first time in days. But when you wake up, there's condensation on the window. In it, drawn with one finger, a small circle, an arrow, and a time. 2:10. You check your phone. It's exactly 2. You stare at the window, at the shape. A circle, spinning, slowly, clockwise. You don't sleep the next night, or the next. But she keeps dancing, even with your eyes open, even in the corners of glass that shouldn't reflect. And once, just once, in the polished rim of your spoon. Smiling, turning, waiting. You return to the library where it all started. Not literally. It's not like your haunting began with a book. But libraries are supposed to hold knowledge. Answers. You're grasping for anything that might explain this slow spiral, this hollowing out that's been feeding on you. One memory, one mirror, one step at a time. It's an old building, pre-war, a little gothic. The kind of place with creaky floors and ceilings painted a dull mustard from decades of fluorescent lights and forgotten whispers. You've never noticed the cold before, though, but today the air bites. You rub your hands together and walk deeper into the stacks. There's a section in the basement marked Historical Archives. It's barely lit, no cameras, smells like vinegar and paper pulp. That's when you notice it. The chill. It hits you like stepping into a freezer. A dry, ancient cold that sinks straight into your bones makes your teeth ache. Your nails go stiff. You pull your sleeves over your fingers and walk forward. The cold is worse down the central aisle. As you pass the third row, your breath fogs the air. That's not normal. You pause. Exhale. A puff of white mist. Then another. Only the second puff doesn't come from you. It hangs there beside yours. Too tall. Too still. You turn. No one's there. But you're not alone. Historians still argue whether the concept of cold spots in haunted spaces has a scientific explanation. Air pressure changes drafts poorly insulated walls. But in hundreds of global accounts, people link cold with something crossing over. Not entering. Not leaving. Just being. You shiver but keep walking. And then you see the stairwell, half hidden behind a sliding panel of shelves. Not a secret door exactly. Just something that shouldn't be there. A narrow metal staircase that coils downward into what looks like sub-basement levels, long forgotten. There's no sign, no lights, just cold. You shouldn't, but you do. You descend. Each step groans metal echoing off stone. The chill deepens. Your breath becomes constant fog. You smell mildew. Old copper, something faintly sweet, like flowers left too long in a sealed vase. At the bottom there's a door, heavy, iron, sealed with a bolt, and a small plaque above it. The inscription reads, "Closed since 1894, do not disturb." You touch the bolt. It falls open. The room is larger than it should be. A wide, low-ceilinged chamber filled with rotting furniture, forgotten shelves, and decayed bundles of cloth that may have once been books. And at the center, a table, circular, surrounded by 7 chairs. Only 6 are empty. The 7th holds something. A coat. Long. Damp. Too familiar. You back away. But your foot strikes something. You look down. A book. Your name is etched into the spine, not printed, carved. You open it. The pages are blank. Until page 7. There, in looping black ink. We missed you. Page 8. You always come back here. Page 9. It gets easier once you let go. You slam the book shut. Flee back up the stairs. But the library is different now. Brighter. Warmer, too quiet. You pass a librarian at the desk. She looks up. Smiles. Then says, "Find what you were looking for." You shake your head. She tilts hers. "Oh, but it's checked out under your name." You blink. What is? She slides a slip across the counter. A return due date. Today's date. And the title, "The One Who Forgets." Borrower you. But the signature isn't yours. It's the same one from the photograph. Curled. Precise. Impossible. You go home. Everything is too normal. The lights don't flicker. The mirrors stay covered. No scratching in the vents. You almost relax until you check your email. There's one new message. No sender. no subject, just a single sentence. We left the door open for you. Attached is a photo of the iron door, wide open, and standing inside. You, but older, smiling, coat dripping. You start a voice. Laptop screen, your microwave door, your sunglasses. Sometimes it's just a flicker. Sometimes it lingers. Once you watch yourself walk behind you while you're making tea, it glances over your shoulder, tilts its head, mouths something you can't hear. You check your phone camera, record the whole kitchen, play it back. At the 10-second mark, your reflection says, "Let me in." You've heard of stories like this: doppelgangers, shadow selves, echoes. Historians still debate whether mirror folklore is rooted in fears of self-awareness or something darker, ancient ideas, that reflections were windows to parallel selves who might one day want to cross over. You're starting to believe the latter. You test a theory. You set up your phone in selfie mode, prop it on the table, and walk out of frame. Then you wait. You watch the screen from the hallway. At first nothing, then movement. You're back, or at least it is. The reflection sits in your chair, same clothes, same posture. It stares into the camera for a long time, then smiles, and slowly starts lifting a hand. Your hand. Except you're not moving. It waves at you. Later, you record yourself sleeping. You don't want to, but you need to know. The next morning, you play it back. For most of the night, nothing happens. Then at exactly 3:10 a.m., your reflection sits up. But you don't. It just rises, eyes closed, smiling faintly. Then it walks off camera. When you check the rest of the footage, you never come back. You start noticing differences, subtle at first. Your handwriting slants the wrong way. You hum a tune you don't remember learning. You answer your phone with a phrase you've never used. Is this version better? You catch yourself saying once to no one, and your voice doesn't sound quite right anymore in recordings. Like it's thinning out, like it's sharing space. One night you hear footsteps behind you while brushing your teeth. You freeze, but this time you don't turn. Instead, you lift your phone, flip the camera, and see your reflection behind you, grinning, arms open, like it's waiting. You whisper, "What do you want?" And it mouths, "Trade." You don't sleep. You don't eat. You find notes written in your handwriting ones you don't remember writing. They say, "You're tired. You could be better. Why not let me try?" You burn them. They come back, rewritten, more persistent, more convincing. One says, "I remember how to be you better than you do." One day you catch your reflection at the edge of your car window. It's already in the driver's seat, smiling. You blink. You're in the passenger seat, hands on your lap, no keys in sight. The engine starts. Grandma does, then stops, then starts again. You get out, slowly, Your reflection does not follow, but it watches. And the reflection in the rearview mirror, still grinning. Later that night, every reflective surface in your home shows something slightly off. Your eyes are too dark. Your posture's too tall. Your smile's too wide. You put a blanket over the bathroom mirror, and it whispers from beneath, "I'm almost you now." You make one last effort. You cover every mirror. You turn off every screen. You close every reflective surface you can find. Then you stand in the hallway. You stare at your shadow on the floor, and you whisper your name over and over until the shadow starts whispering back. But it's not your voice. Not anymore. You leave the city. You don't pack much. Just a few clothes, your phone, your wallet, a flashlight, and a roll of duct tape to cover mirrors in whatever motel you end up at. You drive for hours past towns with no names fields that look the same no matter which direction you're facing. You pull over only when your eyelids feel too heavy to keep open, and the gas light turns orange. The motel sign buzzes faintly. You go inside. The clerk doesn't ask for your name, just slides a key across the counter and says room 13. Last one left. Of course it is. You don't argue. You take the key. The room is small, cold, smells like bleach and old soap. The kind of place made for one-night regrets and never for memories. You check the mirror, just one over the sink. You cover it. Check it twice. Lock the door. Bolt it. Push the dresser in front of it for good measure. You lie in bed with all the lights on. Shoes still on your feet, ready to run. But at 3:00 a.m., the power goes out. You sit upright. The room is dead silent. Then comes the sound. A soft, deliberate creak from the door. You left it locked. You're sure you did. You reach for your phone to check the time. The screen flickers. Shows 3:14 a.m. Then goes black. And from behind the door, you hear it click, like a lock sliding back. Then another sound, metal on wood, a plate being set gently on the floor. You move the dresser, slowly, open the door. There's no one in the hallway, but someone's left a plate on the carpet, a plate of food, your favorite, still warm, steam rising faintly in the dim, flickering emergency light, and beside it, a folded napkin. Inside it, your name is written again, with a strange addition beneath it. Welcome home. Historians still argue whether offering food to spirits was to honor them or appease them. In some cultures, leaving food out was an invitation. In others, it was a bribe to keep the dead at bay. But what happens when you're the one being fed? You close the door, push the dresser back. You don't touch the food, but the smell fills the room anyway. You sit on the bed facing the door and whisper, "What do you want?" No answer. Then, on the wall behind you, faintly etched into the paint with something sharp, "You already said yeah." You try to leave the next morning, but the road loops. GPS says you're moving. You pass the same bent road sign 3 times. The motel reappears in the distance before you've even turned around. You slam on the brakes, scream into the empty car. Something in your glove box clicks. You open it. A folded map, drawn in ink, bold, with one path traced in red, ending at your motel, circled 3 times. Next to it, in cramped handwriting, this is where you said yes the first time. You throw the map out the window. It's on your dashboard when you blink. That night, you take the mirror covering down. You face yourself. Your reflection is already grinning. And for the first time, you feel tired enough to smile back. Why now you whisper. The reflection mouths, because the door is open. You feel something shift behind you. A breeze where there should be no wind. You turn. The closet door is cracked open, and on the floor, wet footprints leading from inside. You grab your things, flee the room, run out into the night, barefoot, heart pounding. The motel behind you flickers like a candle about to go out, but every turn takes you back to it. You cross the highway on foot. It reappears on the other side. Eventually, you stop running. You just walk in. Same clerk, same key, same smile. He doesn't say welcome. He says ready to let it in. You don't answer. You just take the key. Again. Back in the room, the food is still on the plate. Untouched, but colder now. You sit on the bed, and this time you say it out loud. Your real name. The one you forgot weeks ago. The one that's been slipping through your hands like smoke. You whisper it again. The lights flicker on. Every mirror in the room goes clear, and your reflection, still smiling, but not reaching anymore. Just waiting, like it's finally home, like you finally are too. You sleep. It's dreamless at first. Just the vast, warm dark, like floating underwater. No up or down. Then something shifts. You're standing on the old bridge again, barefoot, fog curling around your ankles like curious fingers. The planks beneath you creak damp and soft. The trees on either side of the river lean closer than they should, like they've grown since your last visit. You don't remember walking here, but you know where you are, and you know who you're waiting for. A figure stands at the far end. Long coat, motionless. The same shape you've seen in mirrors and windows, in half-faded photographs. Only now he lifts a hand and beckons you forward. And you go, one step, then another. You don't hesitate. Not this time. As you walk, the bridge stretches beneath your feet. Longer than it should be. The fog thickens. The figure becomes clearer. And then he steps forward too. You meet in the center. The wood creaks. Water laps below. The silence is deep and full, like something holding its breath. You look into his face and see yours. Older, tired, but at peace. He nods once, then holds out a hand. You take it, and everything falls quiet. When you wake, you're in your own bed, but it's different. Not in the way haunted things are different. Not colder, not darker, not wrong. Just quiet, still. You check the mirrors. They show only you, not smiling, not mouthing words. Just you. The vents don't click. The hallway is still. The photograph is gone. So is the coin. You breathe. And it doesn't echo. You make coffee. And it tastes like coffee. You look in your fridge. There's no plate, no note, only silence, and a strange, steady calm. You sit down to write it all out. Every name, every date, every step across every bridge, every whisper in the dark. But the page stays blank. Not because you forget, but because something deep in you understands the story is over, and whatever needed to happen already has. There are no more footsteps behind the door, no more spinning woman, no more flickering lights. You say your name out loud once more. It stays. Clear, solid, yours. And you know you've met him, and you know you said yes, and somehow that's enough. The room is quiet now. No more clicking behind the walls. No whispered names in the mirror. No soft footsteps tracing your breath. Just you, lying still in a bed that finally feels like it belongs to the present, not to a memory or a shadow. Outside your window, the world hushes. Even the night air seems softer, slower, as if everything around you knows that the worst is past. You don't need to remember every detail. Not now. It's okay to let the fog settle, to let the questions fade unanswered. Because sometimes we only find peace not in understanding, but in surrender. And the version of you who stood on that bridge The one who whispered their name in the dark. That version's resting now. They're no longer waiting. You're safe. You're home. Let the quiet hold you. Let your breath slow. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. There's nothing left to fear here. No one is watching anymore. Even the mirrors are asleep. So close your eyes. Feel the weight of the blanket. The hush of the fan. The steady beat of your own heartbeat. You did it. You made it through. And now you rest. End of script. Sweet dreams.